Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Gates County Board of Commissioners regular scheduled meeting. I'm Emily Truman. I serve as the 2026 Board Chair, and tonight I'm joined by Commissioner Jonathan Craddock, Commissioner Brian Roundtree, Commissioner Dave Forsyth, County Manager Scott Sauer, and Clerk to the Board Renee Draper. I'm going to ask if Commissioner Craddock could provide the invocation and pledge for us before we begin.
Let us pray. Father God, we come to you tonight, first of all, to give you thanks. Thank you for this day that you have made, and let us rejoice and be glad in it. Father God, we come and ask of you to come into this house tonight to help us conduct county business. Lord, help us make the most effective decisions for our constituents. And Lord, the best well-being of this county. We ask these things in your name, name above all names, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Get us started. Are there any changes to the agenda? And if none, or any changes requested for the agenda? If none, if I can get a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Madam Chair, so moved.
All right.
Second.
Second. All right. All in favor? That is unanimous. Okay. And then we have the consent agenda. Let's see. Are there any amendments or clarifications for the items listed on the consent agenda? And if not, if we could get a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor? And that is unanimous. Great. So we're going to move into our special presentations. First up, we have Ms. Shana Brown with Center for Energy Education. We're going to have a present of an overview on the Energy Saver North Carolina program. So,
Madam Chair.
yes.
If I may say, Ms. Shana Brown could not be here tonight,
Okay.
but we're fortunate to have Ms. Christy Gibson and
Okay.
Ms. Jasmine Carter.
All right. So if we could invite you both to the podium.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Commissioner Chair Truman, fellow commissioners and residents of Gates County. I am Jasmine Carter, and this is Christy Gibson. And we're all the way here from Halifax County, and we are here from the Center for Energy Education in Roanoke Rapids. The Center for Energy Education is proud to support the residents of Gates County by helping them take advantage of two powerful energy-saving programs that provide financial assistance for energy efficiency and electrification upgrades for eligible homeowners and renters. This initiative is called Energy Saver NC. The program is available to Gates County residents through our partnership with the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality, known as DEQ. Through this program, families have already received much-needed home upgrades such as new HVAC systems, ranges, refrigerators, washers and dryers, ductwork, water heat. Well, she already mentioned water heaters, didn't she? No, water heaters, air sealing, and insulation under homes and in attics. These improvements enhance comfort, increase safety, and reduce energy costs. The Center for Energy Education is actively assisting residents with applications from these income-based programs. In Halifax County alone, we have helped more than 1,000 residents apply for assistance, and our goal is to serve just as many families here in Gates County. We will be back, or we plan on coming back to Gates County on May 13th at the Gates County Community Center from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. We understand the challenges small communities face, including limited transportation and internet access. We want to ensure we reach as many residents in Northeast North Carolina as possible. All North Carolina residents deserve support in making their homes more energy efficient. Qualified residents may receive up to $16,000 through the Homes Program and up to $14,000 through the HERE program, depending on eligibility and household needs. According to NCDEQ, the average median income of a single-person household in Gates County is approximately $41,350 per year, meaning that many of the residents may qualify. To apply, applicants will need a valid email address because each applicant must have their own email address. They will need the last 12 months of electric bill and gas bill if applicable. And the third thing they will need is income documentation for all members of the household 18 years of age and older. And income documentation might be benefit letters from SSI, SSA. They will ask for proof of anything like SNAP benefits or Medicaid. Renters can also apply. The landlord will have to grant permission to have the home assessed and to have the contractors come in and complete the work. There are a few things that they have to agree to, sign, and send in. The applicant will need the email address, phone number, and name of the homeowner to put on their application. We are also encouraging local contractors to become certified through NCDEQ so the work can stay within our communities. Interested contractors can register online at the EnergySaverNC.org website, and our team is happy to assist them through the process. Together, we can ensure more families in our region have access to safe, comfortable, and energy-efficient homes. I need to also mention that this program is not an emergency assistance program, and this program also does not pay or help pay any bills. The program is not designed to help replace the roof or floors of homes. The Center for Energy Education is only helping residents to complete the applications. We are simply basically volunteers helping the community. We are not the ones who approve or deny applications, and we have no access to any information on an application once we help submit it. Any inquiries about the approval or progression of an application has to be directed to the Energy Saver NC program directly. Thank you for your support and for helping us create a lasting impact in Gates County through Energy Saver NC. And again, I'm Jasmine Carter. This is
Christy Gibson.
And we are here. We are missing our third person, which is Shauna. So you have any
Shauna,
questions
okay.
for us?
Sure.
Thank you. Yeah.
Always.
Go.
No. That's the teacher
start
in
down
me.
there.
I'm interested in my questions.
So y'all are out of Roanoke Rapids.
Yes.
What counties do y'all cover, your particular organization? You all of North Carolina?
We have been to quite a few places. Mainly, we try to stay in northeastern North Carolina.
Okay.
However, Shauna and I have even gone to, where was that? Cleveland County.
Okay.
To try and help them out as well. So wherever pretty much Shauna is the one that sets this stuff up for us.
Okay.
So anybody that reaches out and needs help, because this program actually started January 2025. And there's so many people that still don't know about it, except pretty much through us trying to help get the word out. So.
Okay. Next
just-
question.
Yeah.
So you said 16,000 to 14,000, depending on which program. How big a
Yes.
pot of money do y'all have?
Yeah.
I mean, what I'm getting at is if you only had 32,000, if you get two people, that's it. What?
$204 million.
$204 million?
Million,
Ooh,
okay.
That's okay.
That's a good
to
number.
know. That's okay.
If I'm not mistaken, Shauna said it was less than 100,000 or something that has already been spent.
That's not much.
So are there any, I mean, you mentioned the need for the salary requirements, that kind of stuff like that. Is there any kind of cap to where people should just know, like, there's not
I
a
say
need
no.
to
I'm
okay.
giving you what I say no, because even if you can't make more than 150% of that
Okay.
to get 100% of the 16,000.
So they could get a portion?
Right.
Okay.
Yep. So it's possible for you to
So that's
get.
cumulative, so if a total household income is 60,000, they can't get the max, roughly.
How many people?
But you
got?
said right. It depends on the number of people in the household
Goes
as
up with
well.
each person.
Okay.
Really? So you could have more than one person there making more than the average household, that 40-some thousand?
So, but if you have, four kids in a house, but then
Right.
Yeah, but I'm talking about adults, so if you had 3 adults living there and each of them made $40,000, they're way outside the range, correct?
Probably. However, even with that,
it doesn't hurt
I
to
mean,
try.
they have the money, so why not apply and just see what happens?
Okay,
Okay.
I've had one applicant that her and her husband both were retired and they both had nice pensions. We knew it was gonna be tight. She got 50% approved, so she, instead of the 30, she got 15. So her glass was still half full, she said.
yeah.
Okay. That's
All right, next question.
Sure.
So y'all partner with DEQ, and you said y'all just filled the application, so is it actually DEQ that, y'all haven't filled the application, it then goes to DEQ,
Yes,
who
and
reviews
it's out
it,
of our
makes the
hands.
decision, and then allocates the
Right.
money? Do y'all
So-
handle the money at all, or does it?
No.
Okay.
All we
So
do
y'all
is help
truly are just a volunteer
just
organization?
trying to help people
Right.
get
Just trying to help,
connected to resources.
North Carolina.
Yeah.
Northeast
Okay.
North Carolina misses out on so much.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So on May 13th, when y'all come, are y'all coming prepared to like help people fill out the forms and
Yes.
all?
We'll have computers.
Okay.
We'll have
scanners.
computers.
And do we have flyers to advertise
we will
that?
have-
Okay.
We will have flies.
Shauna.
We haven't got a
Shauna, I'm
final
sorry,
approval
yeah.
13th.
Yeah, so
Okay.
That's what
because,
you did, but we'll send one as soon, we talked about that this afternoon.
Okay.
One more.
Yeah, go
Okay,
ahead.
sorry. So for contractors that are interested in registering, I mean, they need to be like a licensed contractor, I take it, to
Licensed and
They
do,
do.
insured.
probably,
yep,
if they're doing plumbing work, they gotta be licensed to do plumbing work, licensed to
don't-
do
they don't.
electrical work
I
or
don't
something?
think they do plumbing. Haven't heard anything about
Or if you're
that.
doing water heaters, or just,
Yeah, water heater.
What, true.
okay.
But there is, on their website, is actually a little section that says like for contractors. And then it'll tell them, everything that they need
Okay.
and,
Okay.
yep.
Step-
Because what is the thing that they need?
DPI, they
Yeah.
have to have their DPI certification. If you don't have, they don't have it, it's $999, but DEQ's offering it to them for $500. Just to give them a discount, and that'll be a certification, it's not just for DEQ. That's
Right,
the
they can use it in other
certification
For
places.
them,
They'll
yeah.
always
Okay.
have.
Okay.
And they get a $500, if they charge $15,995, say they got close as they could to 16, they're gonna get that back plus a $500 for going into a rural community.
Okay.
So it's like icing on the cake or the
Yeah.
cherry on top, or
That's exciting. Okay.
Yes, when I attended the NC Energy Savers presentation, I'm so thankful for Ms. Brown, Ms. Carter, and Ms. Gibson. I saw it as an opportunity for our constituents to benefit from saving energy, the cost of energy. Because, like she mentioned, our median income is $41,000. There's a need for our constituents to take advantage, especially during these economic times, to save money in their homes. And I had to jump on it early. And I'm so glad that they took my invitation and came. And also I'm looking forward to May 13th when they make a presentation to the community at large. And I want to encourage our constituents, spread the word.
Yeah.
Spread the word, because I believe it's my duty, and it is my duty, to look out for our constituents and citizens, especially during these economic times, these challenging times. And I want to thank you for providing, and thank NCDEQ for providing the resources so our citizens can take advantage of this opportunity.
We need you here in the fall, this was a bad winter.
And, Chrissy's gonna,
Did you have anything? No. Okay.
Look at this.
All right, if we could give them to the clerk and she'll, handle that for us. Thank you.
Appreciate
We
it.
appreciate you all. If they can go to her, and she'll distribute them to us. We appreciate it. Thank you both.
Thank y'all.
Thank you so much.
All right, so we now, see, we're moving on to Ripe Revival. We have Mr. Will Cornegie to present about the Ripe Revival program.
Madam Chair.
Oh, Christine McKeel, I'm sorry. Okay, so we have Ms. Christine McKeel.
See if I can do this.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That one?
All right. Thank you, Ms. McKeel.
Thank y'all for having me. I'm here representing Right for Revival. Our founder and CEO, Will Carnegie, has his third newborn baby girl. So he literally has his hands full tonight. So I'm stepping in for him. But it's a pleasure to be here. I'm Christine McKeel. I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator for Right for Revival. And before we go through the slides, just a little bit about who we are. Ripe for Revival is a nonprofit arm of Ripe Revival. And our mission is to bridge the gap between farm access and food access. And we do that primarily with our mobile market program. Our mission is to revive communities through food. I'm going to take you through a little bit about what we do really quickly and allow you some time to answer some questions. And also I've got some good information for y'all kind of relative to Gates County and surrounding counties so you can kind of get a feel for the impact that we're making in our local communities to see what that might look like if and when we come to Gates County. Let's see if I can get this going. Am I doing that? Oh, well, hello, that was right. Thank you, my dear. Yep. One of the part of our mission is that we want to empower our farmers, our growers, our producers. And the way that we do that is we realized years ago there was an excessive amount of waste in all of our fields. And sitting on the back of a truck in Nash County, Will Carnegie said, "What's going to happen to all these sweet potatoes?" And he kind of had this, idea. What if I do something with them? And as a result, through a lot of trial and error, we kind of came to where we are now. So sometimes when things don't work out, a door closes, a window opens. And one of the things that we're really proud of is we believe that by taking that excess from our farmers, we're financially lifting them up. We're paying a fair price for that commodity that would be waste. It would be thrown out. It's not pretty enough for the grocery store. It's not a misfit. It's just sometimes an overproduction. We're able to pay a fair price for that. So we're financially helping out our local growers, our producers, our farmers. And then we're repurposing that on our mobile units that are mobile markets that roll out into communities such as rural areas that might be deemed a food desert. And we utilize the produce from all of our local areas, put it on those units, and then it becomes like a little grocery store. After we take those things on our units, we also have partners such as Braswell Farms in Nash County. They supply our eggs. We have Smithfield Foods. We have many, all proud to say, North Carolina companies that we provide our proteins from. Valari Farms, Cattlemen's, all the names for our meats. And we put those on the unit as well. So we'll have fresh produce, meat, eggs, and some pantry staples as well. In our group of nonprofit and profit, we have our for-profit side that does the provisions, the farming, and then on the nonprofit side, we have the mobile market program. The mobile market program runs currently, we have a fleet of 11 units. They are buses or they are trucks and trailers. And they roll out into 33 weekly events in 22 counties currently. By the end of 2026, our expansion should be about 50 weekly events in 35 counties. The unique thing about our mobile market is the model is pay what you can. And what that looks like is you come on board, everything is priced individually. A potato is priced, a banana is priced, a package of eggs is priced. We price everything about 30% less than what I call a standard grocery store. And we look at those prices every week, and we're really proud to keep those prices low. We are not government subsidized or government funded. We are truly a nonprofit, and our pay what you can model is a way to allow people to come and shop with dignity, to get what they need and pay what they're able. That does not mean that we turn anyone away. There's no application process. You just show up and shop. And the way it works best is when everyone shops. The biggest misconception people have is it's just for someone in need. Well, I personally think we're all in need right now because prices have never been higher than they've ever been. And I always love to save money everywhere I can. I shop it, you shop it, everybody shops it together. The beauty of it is that we really wanted to see communities coming together of every demographic, of every walk of life. And when you come together for a short time, it's a sense of fellowship, it's a sense of belonging, it's a conversation. You're mingling with your civic club members and your church leaders and your business partners. You might see your insurance agent there. You might see the girl that checks you out at the store. So it's a wonderful way for the community to come together, and we can help people in a time of need. One of the things that happens very often when people come up on board, they get ready to check out. Our mobile market associates say, here's your suggested total, and they pay what they can. I might say, keep the change. It's just a little way that I can pay it forward. Someone else might come up and say, hey, this is what I've got today. We're like, that's wonderful. Have a great day. We hope to see you next time. Somebody else may come up and say, I'm really having a hard time. I'm struggling. We're like, that's fine. We hope to see you next time. So whatever that looks like, it doesn't matter. We're there for them. We know that sometimes they just might need a little help during a time of need. More times than you would realize, people come back time and time again, and then one day they show up and they're holding money in their hand, and it always gets me every time because they'll say, I'm paying today, and I want you to keep the change and help someone else like you helped me. And I see it all the time. It doesn't happen 10 times, it happens 100 times. So that's really important to us because that's truly what our goal is. This is what we did in 25. We had 11, I feel like I'm not talking to two things. We had 11 mobile markets. That's the units that roll out. We did 1,308 events. A little over 33,000 families were served, and that equated to over 2 million servings of food. And if you're wondering how we keep all this data, we have some sharp young men and women that are little collectors of data. Everything is weighed when we go out. Everything is weighed when we come in. So we keep impeccable records to really show the impact in the communities. We can tell you how many people came, how many pounds of food, how many servings that equates to in every single market. The provisions is something we do twice a year. Easter and Christmas, we just had ours on the Thursday before Good Friday, and we gave out 3,500 meals. We do that in Rocky Mount, but it's not exclusive to people in Nash County. It's open to anyone in any county. You just have to come and sign up. So we're really proud of that. It's our way of giving back. Our newest venture is we have a culinary education program. You'll see some information on that. It's sort of like a food truck setup. It's a commercial kitchen. It goes out into communities. We work with our community colleges, our university systems, workforce development, teaching a young mom with 3 children, how do you stretch that dollar, and what do you do with the food you get from us? Like, how are you going to cook an eggplant or an acorn squash? We give them real life recipes, real ways to stretch that dollar and eat healthy. We have a brick and mortar as well that we do events and chefs come in and train, as well as on the culinary unit. We love to roll those out in our rural communities, and we get some pretty amazing people on there that love to have the children come on and families come on, students that might think, what is the life in culinary like? So we're there to teach, educate, and improve the nutrition. We have a mission partner program. You can learn more about that. And I'd like to end just by saying, one of the things I got for y'all today, just to show you, because we are not here in Gates County yet, but Gates County is on the horizon. I think maybe we could be here as soon as June. But we have markets all around this area, Hertford County, Bertie, Northampton. You can see on this sheet, I did some information for you to look at what we did in Q1. If you want to think, well, how could this affect Gates County? How would this help our citizens here? You can get a snapshot just in the recent quarter, how many servings of food we've given out with a number of markets. The markets are every week on a certain day and a certain time. It's a set schedule. They're an hour and a half long. We love to have volunteers, community support. We partner with all of our civic groups, our faith-based groups, our business leaders, banks, insurance, all of the big names. Healthcare especially, food is medicine, and we know that this is a way to stay out of the hospital and stay healthy. We're really proud to partner with Blue Cross Blue Shield, Healthy Blue, United Healthcare, AmeriHealth, ECU Health. We're moving into Virginia. Maybe we'll get all that going soon. And one last thing, on our units, which you could see when she shares the video with you that I had for y'all today, we have a wellness center built into one of our fleet that's out now, and we have 2 that are getting upfitted as I speak. So when you enter on to shop the market with the produce and the meat and the eggs and refrigeration, in the back is a private wellness center. We also have now been funded through a USDA grant to have Starlink for telehealth. We partner with all our community health groups in our rural towns and our larger areas. They come on board. They do screenings. They do education. We can have access to care. We can find a primary physician. We can give you help on Medicare, Medicaid, whatever you need, colon screening, sign up, all the things. So what I love about that is that in our rural communities, we're few and far between our hospital systems and access to care, access to all the things. So we really want to partner with all of the groups in these areas, because we know when you come to shop, you're there for just more than that. And we want to be a way to partner together with others and offer people all the things that they need when they're there. I could talk all day, but I'm not. Do y'all have any questions for me?
I'm just going to say I think it's incredibly exciting that its whole community goes from helping, like you said, the farmers to the people. The access to care is huge. We talk about whole person care and access to just the screenings and connecting to care, and how limited we are in what we call a resource desert here.
Right.
I know Dr. Stanley Elliott with Blue Cross Blue Shield had mentioned this last year when we met with him, and so it was a program that we have.
I work with Stan a lot.
He's
yeah. He and I,
incredible.
we're doing our
Yeah.
rural counties, Christine.
No.
We are like on it. He
He's
and I
wonderful.
are a good team.
But I love the, like you said, do it with dignity and being able to support your community, and that's at all levels. So I think
Speaking
that's
of him,
exciting.
he actually helped institute a small fund from Blue Cross for us to get started in Gates
Yeah.
County. So we're ready
Yeah.
to kind of rock and roll with that.
Good. That's great. Do we have any other questions or comments here?
So I see like in a Hosky, y'all are there on a Fridays from 11 to 12:30. I'm trying to figure out how to ask this. Do y'all have a limited supply on the vehicle so that people show up and you only stay an hour and a half because it's gone that quick?
No,
Or-
so an hour and a half is sort of the logistics of it. I don't work in operations, and I couldn't do it. It's just crazy.
I guess what I'm
All the
really
things.
asking, I'm
Yeah.
thinking is until something's established in Gates County, if we were able, because most of the people that are having difficulties won't necessarily have transportation to get there.
Right.
If we were to arrange to get them there, is the likelihood we show up with 20 people? Are you going to be sold
Oh, yeah.
out?
I mean, our average markets have 40, 50 people. So we stock them, and then we have in the back, we have like the second stop for the next stop along the route. Most of the units do 2 stops in a day. So, geographically, they may go from, for example, a Hosky, they might could come here, whatever that looks like. Windsor to Lewiston is an example. So we'll stock everything, and then we keep it fair so that, if it's out, it's out. And then we restock when we go to the next place. The eggs are always, the big seller. There's things that go quickly. But that's a good sign. We want to come back with less. We want people to take this food. We want people to come and shop and take what they need. And the transportation is really important to us in where we're located. The location is key to the success. The community involvement is key to that success. We think really specifically, I feel like the Google person in the car driving around looking, should it be here, should it be there? Talking to everyone that lives in these communities, where do we need to be? What's the best place? We really like to find a place and hunker down and stay there and hope that it's successful. Occasionally, we've had to move a location because we want to be where we can make the most impact. And we would depend on all of you in the community to help us to know where that could be. And we have a lot of communities that do have different transportation modes to get groups there. A lot of my senior centers and Office of Aging, they're really wonderful in getting people together and bringing them to our site if they need to. We like to be somewhere where people could walk if they can. Every community is different. Gates County is in Hyde County, very spread out, very few and far between. Jones County, again, it's very similar, these three counties. So I just know that it's really tricky is finding where's the best place. There is an option to do where it changes bi-weekly. That can be confusing for people, but sometimes we have done that before where we're, every other week we're on this location and every other week we're at that one, if that suits the community better.
So the theme I was getting on, the amount of food you carry on. Obviously, there's the food bank of Albemarle. We have our gyms here and everything. Do y'all get rid of 100% of all the food y'all have that comes in? The reason I'm asking is like, what happens with your excess? Because even if you're trying to do the right thing. We
have partners that we do the same thing. We pass that along to. We have a lot of groups around a 4-county area around Rocky, because our corporate is located in Rocky Mount, but we're getting ready to have a second hub in Plymouth starting in June. So that'll work 20 routes. Will be located on the campus of Washington Regional Medical Center there. Okay. So that'll be a second hub location like what we have. But we do the same thing. And, sometimes and sometimes it's gone bad. It's time to move on. But we're very frugal being a nonprofit. So we try not to waste a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
That's great.
I'm very excited talking with CEO Will Cornegie, and the things it does for the community is outstanding. As you mentioned, education, the health care factor, and the community factor. But most importantly, the food insecurity factor, where we're addressing the needs of our citizens that may have food insecurity. And even those who don't have food insecurity, they can help in the process, as you said, by, telling them to keep the change, or even adding additional money forward this. It's a win-win situation. And as you know, throughout the state, throughout the country, food insecurity is an issue. That's why I'm so glad that CEO Carnegie accepted my invitation. And I'm sorry he can't be here. I understand the little one there. But I'm so grateful to Mr. McKeel that you're here to inform our constituents of the things opportunities that you're offering them in all those areas. Community, healthcare, food insecurity. It's a blessing. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Do you have any other comments or questions? No? All right. Thank you.
Thank y'all so much.
So next on your agenda, you're going to see Sheriff's Office update. The Sheriff is good at this time with no updates to bring forward, so we're going to move into the agenda-only public comments. So do we have anyone signed up for that, Ms. Draper? Okay. No? Okay. So we'll move into old business, which will kick off with the design team selection for the new community senior center project. We're going to turn it over to Manager Sauer if he could start us off on this.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Board of Commissioners, as many of you know, has been focused on developing plans to build a new community and senior center The county received a grant several years ago that will provide funds to pay for the design work, engineering work. And the board went through a request for qualifications. We had submittals from 11 different design firms from all around North Carolina, I think a couple into Virginia. The board members, the commissioners selected 5 firms to interview, and they spent a day here interviewing each of those firms. And the top firm is H Architecture that was identified. And if the board would like to,
No.
Are you sure about that?
That was the list, I'm sorry.
oh, I'm sorry.
No.
That was the list.
Oh, that was the list, okay.
Just say no.
Well, let me read the list then. H Architecture, Intrepid Architecture, Dun & Dalton, CP&L Architects and Engineers, and Skinner, Farlow, Kerwin Architecture. Well, then I guess it's appropriate for the board to make the motion and for me to be quiet.
Which they were all great presentations.
Yeah,
We
they
had some
were.
really good ones. It was a hard decision, but, yeah. I believe it was the Kerwin that, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna look and make sure that I'm not wrong
Skinner,
now.
Farlow.
And
Yeah,
Skinner,
that-
Carlo, and
That was the one
Farrow.
I would support. I'd make a motion for that, for us to.
All right, so to select
Second.
them as the firm to design the new community and senior center. All right, so we have a first and a second. Do we have any other discussion? All right, all in favor? That is
Wow, that
unanimous.
was easy. It was a lot easier to do this vote than it was to do the review. you know.
It was. The review was hard. There were a few that were very, very close. Very, very close. So, all right. Well, that was great. We will move into new business. That was our only item of old business. So moving into new business, we have a few budget amendments to look at if Mr. Sauer can address those items.
I believe we have only one budget amendment this evening.
Is that, oh, okay, yep.
F-26034. This is part of the business personal property verification system and working with our auditor, and the amount of revenue and offsetting expenditure is $2,400. And again, that's F-26034.
All right. So if there is any discussion, if not, if we can get a motion to approve that amendment as presented.
I'll move it, approve it.
Second.
All in favor? That is unanimous. Okay. We are moving down then to the clerk to the board updates. So we are turning the floor over to Ms. Draper.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Commissioners. I do have a few updates before we get to the one action item I have. The 8th Annual Albemarle Area 4-H Livestock Show and Sale is going to be April 28th and 29th at the Livestock Building in Elizabeth City. That building is actually behind the Eastern Pet Company off of Highway 17 South, and we will have 23 Gates County youth participants there. So I wanted to share that. This came in this week. It is the NCACC Annual Stewardship Report, and there was a letter in there from Kevin Leonard, the Executive Director of the association, and it just basically a summary is, I have a hard copy there. Hopefully y'all got a copy, if not emailed in the mail, so I just wanted to make sure y'all had that. And I also did want to recognize April, the month of April. Since 1991, the National Association of Counties has recognized April as National County Government Month. It's a time to highlight the important roles, responsibilities, and services that counties provide every day. And as clerk to the board, I'd just like to take a moment and thank y'all, our citizen advisory board members, our county manager, and all of our county staff for the work that they do to serve Gates County. I want to acknowledge that your time and effort and commitment truly make a difference in this community. And I also want to encourage our citizens to get involved in your local government. That could be as simple as attending a meeting, serving on a board, or reaching out to learn just how things work here. If anybody has any questions or would like to get involved, I'm happy to help. And I don't know if y'all noticed the new marketing material we have. Let y'all know I have ordered a few marketing items downstairs in the foyer, and then I've got a nice tablecloth with the county seal on it. So another thing I would like y'all to keep in mind is other additional marketing items that maybe we can work into next year. I know pens and some notepads are a necessity just to have for citizens, but if y'all can think of anything else, just let me know. And then lastly, in your packet, there was a application for the Merchants Commerce Center Committee from Mr. Leonard Brothers. He is a Hobbsville district, and right now we currently have 1 serving from Eure, 2 from Sunbury, and 1 from Gates. So that's the only action item I request from y'all this evening for consideration.
Sounds great. So you said 2, 1, and 1, so we have 4. This is going to be a 5th member.
That will be the
Is there a
5th.
cap on the board
Vacancy,
after
full
this?
vacancy.
Just to mention out there, or no?
What was that?
Is there a cap on that board after this, or will this be the last
This
member
is
for
the,
this?
this is the final
board?
seat.
Okay. All right. So we have that information in your packet if you want to look over it, and if so, if we could have a motion for approval to the board or any discussion. It's for Mr. Leonard Brothers. Discussion or any motion to approve?
Yeah, I've read it, saw it, so I mean, I had no problem with it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have no
Didn't
problem.
know if
with
somebody
that.
in particular.
I don't typically start
Sponsored
motions,
it.
so if somebody wants to.
Madam Chair,
Okay.
I move that Mr. Leonard Brothers,
Okay. Be appointed.
yes, be
Okay.
appointed.
All right, can we have a
Commerce.
second?
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor? All right.
Okay, anything else, y'all have
You know,
any
the chair
questions
can
for
make
me?
motions to do.
I know they can. I was going to. I was going to say, I don't usually, but I'm about to, is what I was getting at. I try to stay out, but I'm happy to. All right, so at this time, we're going to move into the county manager report.
Thank you. And for item number 1, we have a guest speaker, Mr. Ethan Summers. Many of you have seen him. He's with the Albemarle Commission, does transportation planning, and he has a brief presentation for this evening, and I believe we'll be using the PowerPoint.
Okay.
I just want to say thank you for inviting me the other day. I'm excited to kind of give this and get a rundown of what's going on in Gates County in terms of transportation. As I work with Commissioner Forsyth on the Albemarle Commission Board, or not, I guess I'm on the board, but I give them updates every month. And then Nathan Berryman is my one of my board members on my RTAC. So he helps us make decisions in the region. Well, I guess intro is that Albemarle PO covers 10 counties, Washington, Terrell, Hyde, Dare, Currituck, Camden, Paspetinker, Quemmons, Chowan, and Gates. And so it's a lot, and we're spread, pretty wide, but we try to get as much resources geographically out there as possible to help it get balanced. I guess we'll do this in chronological order. There we go. So, actually, before I start off with this, so currently ongoing in the county, we have the most, recent thing that's going to really be up and coming will be the pedestrian safety call for projects. The 2 projects were selected. These will be done through on-call projects. The money will be obligated to these 2 projects in June, and will be done probably within the next year before the call opens again. And this was adding pedestrian crossings, crosswalks, and little pedestrian heads down here at the intersection of 137 and 37, and then up by the pharmacy, adding a crosswalk and pedestrian heads up there. And then we are doing an express design to get a cost estimate for a roundabout or a RCI, which is a reduced conflict intersection at the intersections of US 158 and Acorn Hill Road. Way out there, but there's a lot of accidents, a lot of turning motions. So we're just trying to improve safety, but also keep the mobility up instead of having that 4-way stop that exists. The 4-way stop helps stop the accidents, but at the same time, we don't want people stopping on US 158. We want them to keep the traffic moving. So we're trying to see a great solution for that. So this is the first part of the presentation. So this is Our cycles for transportation funding are called prioritization cycles. We run through the North Carolina State Transportation Improvement Program. And so this is the mobility category. This kind of breaks down how the scoring is done because each project that we submit is quantitatively scored. And then it is, depending upon its category, it is put against other projects. So US 13, as you can imagine, is a statewide corridor, is then in statewide mobility. US 158 is considered a regional corridor, so it can only go up to regional impact in terms of funding. And then division needs is more of your local roads, but each road, if it falls into the highest category of statewide, it can cascade down into these other ones. And for mobility category, congestion is your highest factor on these scores, followed by benefits costs, and the safety and freight kind of take up the end. But this usually slows down any project that happens in the rural part of the state because congestion is really just a capacity ratio. And as you could imagine, a two-lane road can really carry a lot of cars, and the other parts of the state, we're hitting that limit very quickly. And then we have modernization. Ooh, hit the wrong button. Modernization. So this is kind of where I want to try to push our projects into. This takes out our congestion factors and moves it into safety and freight movement, and also lane and shoulder width. So this makes sure that if we have large trucks traveling down the road, they're not rubbing mirrors on the way down. We are keeping it to where it is very safe and people feel safe driving down it. This also helps with our rural bikers out there because they usually like to ride on the wider shoulders instead of being in the actual lane itself. Especially, there's been a push recently to add the rumble strips. I don't know how many of you guys have seen them, but the rumble strips underneath the painting lines. And that has been quite the trouble for bikers because they cannot get out of the lane very easily without going over the strips. And so this past go around, oh, that is really small from here. So I did some test scoring on the major corridors. So the top one is US 13 for the top three. This kind of went over how the projects would score in each category. So the first one I did was a modernization of the roadway. Since we cannot actually widen the roadway to its expressway standard that we kind of want it to be, this would be a good safety stopgap for the foreseeable future. We are really struggling at the state level to get any funding at all. A lot of projects have been going over recently due to the rapid increase in inflation. And so this is kind of aiming on keeping the costs low in terms of the project, but improving safety drastically. We kind of aim towards the 40 mark in terms of regional impact scores, right there in the middle, because that is where our local input that we get to place on the project will actually help it get to the point where it can be funded or be very competitive in terms of the rest of the region. Then we have, but in the division needs score, this area scores a little bit lower just because of the freight isn't taken as highly into account. And so this kind of lowers it down in comparison as seen on here, where the safety is still high, but our freight is down from 15% in regional impact to just 5%. This is just because division needs actually only takes in 50% of the scores quantitative. Our local input takes a lot higher role. So in 158, modernization scored not so great, but it scored pretty close to what US 13 did. That is just due to a lower freight count and the wider shoulders that already exist on 158. But we're kind of trying to push towards this. But these are for express designs. So these two, I want to kind of pursue 2 express designs, but we're going to have to split a single project in half. So we'll submit this as one. This is what I talked to Mr. Sauer and Lisa Cherry about the other day, of having these projects looked at. It will be from the US 158-13 intersection up to the state line and modernizing the entire extent, but we'll split the cost estimate they give us back in half so that we can see if, let's just say half of it turns out to be $50 million, we will submit half the project. whatever half is more likely to score higher, or vice versa. And then for US 158, I narrowed it down to between Sunbury and, I'm blanking on the name. Yeah, past Easton's Crossroads. It's very, very hard to see down there. It's
Oh, down
37.
yeah, NC 37
Okay,
out there.
37.
And then we'd have it split, so we do the entire length, but we'd ask them to do the cost estimate between where Business 158 comes back in
Okay.
and Easton Crossroads, because that will have a different look to the project, since it will probably incorporate more pedestrian features,
Yeah.
and we'll have to be a little bit slower through the area. They'll probably widen out the shoulders a bit more, et cetera, just to make it safer for the two schools that are out there, and also the increased traffic flow that goes to that section of roadway. But if there's any other suggestions, the deadline for submitting one of these projects would be June. They just pushed it back on Friday, which is good for us. It allows us to kind of see how these projects score. We already submitted the entire extent of US 13 that was just shown as an upgrade all the way to Expressway, kind of like how it is south of 158. And then we have, oops, sorry, went the wrong way. The entire extent of US 158 to Expressway as one project from US 13 all the way out to Highway 17. But it allows us to see how these projects will score before we go and submit these individual projects in for express design for future submittals into the STIP. And I think that's all I got. Yep.
Can I ask you some questions based on the pictures you got there?
Yeah.
So the couple, to make sure I understand this right, and for layman's terms, so for instance, you talked about something about being enhancements to the roadway versus, I guess, a full expansion of it. For those designs you're talking about, like for the 158 corridor through the county, is that talking about just a widening, including shoulders, not really extra lanes, but just a widening of the existing roadway?
We would try to incorporate a two-way left turn lane down the middle. Trying to think where the closest example would be for that.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So it'd basically be a 3-lane road, center lane dedicated turns only.
Yes.
Not a passing lane or anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
More than likely, in that sense, it will take a different kind of extent. We'll probably incorporate bits and pieces of it to where, let's just say, a section is extremely rural, where we don't have many homes or driveways on it. We might change it back down and just have it have wide shoulders instead, which that will save money. This is what that will be a part of the express design for them to see where it will be feasible.
So is that what's happening in the existing swamp roadway, is an express design where it's a
That
wider
is-
lanes than in shoulder versus extra lanes, right?
That one is, so the express design is just them going through and doing a really quick mapping out on the computer and giving us the
Okay.
cost. They're actually constructing that is modernization, as they would call it, to where it's wider shoulders and wider lanes.
Right, it doesn't expand the number of lanes, it's still strictly 2-lane with wider shoulders, right?
Exactly.
So that's more or less kind of what we're talking.
Yeah.
Okay, what about the 13 corridor north of 158, is it the same thing?
Yep, it'd be the
Okay.
same thing. We would try to keep the flow of traffic a bit higher, so we're pursuing the RCI corridor. I guess the RCI corridor would be the way to explain it in engineering terms, but we'd have make it to where any intersection there would be no crossing left turn out
Right.
onto S113. It would make it go right and around.
Gotcha.
But the 158 would be interesting. We'd probably explore more roundabouts since it's a little bit more, I guess, more locally used rather than 13 where it is much more
Right.
long range traffic.
All right, questions concerning your scoring methodology, that algorithm you have. You talk about regional scoring, and you said we make the scoring or whatever. Is that within your committee, or is that like the division office in Edenton makes the regional decision?
It is higher than that. So that is,
Well, you had state level, then you had regional level, then you had division level scoring. Is all the scoring done at the state level?
it is all done at the state level. They incorporate, I want to say it is 6 or 4 RPOs. I think it's 6 with alternatives, and then 5
RPO for the layman here?
rural planning organizations.
Right.
So I represent one RPO.
Right.
And so we'd have 4 of the 4 members like me who would be there to represent the rural areas. Then we'd have 5 metropolitan planning organizations, so your Greenvilles, your Raleighs, et cetera. And then we'd have DOT staff Most of the time, it is division engineers or division project managers.
And then, but what you're describing, division managers, that's at the, when they do the state level confab to score it, is that what you're saying?
That they all get in one big room and they all just look at the scores, see how the projects have kind of shaken out over the last cycle, and they determine how it will change overall across the entire.
Not trying to put you on the spot, just want to make sure I understand completely how
Yeah.
the process works. Okay.
All
It's
right,
not a
any
very
other,
easy process. I understand the
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
do you have any other questions or comments?
Actually, one more. So for the north, I'm sorry, the 13 corridor going north. So I know whenever the 17 corridor was expanded to 4 lanes going north, and there was some difficulties with Virginia not willing to do their part right away. Is there any coordination going on now about 13 with Virginia concerning their expansion of 13 north of the state line?
I talked with Hampton Roads Transportation Planning.
HRPDC.
HR.
Hampton Roads
TPO.
Planning District Commission, they have the RPO for that
Yes.
equivalent. Yeah.
Yep. They have. Well, theirs is much more interesting. It has. I think it's a TAP or Transit Area Planning Organization. They actually get money directly allocated from the federal government to spend on projects. Very interesting. Anyways, I asked them about it, and they said that they get interest from, like, I don't know the town or city right now, Suffolk, to expand that. So I think that there's a push on both sides for it to be upgraded. If that will be built is another question, because their funding works in the same way as ours, where it has to quantitatively score.
So you at the regional level planning, you would be coordinating with them versus it being done at the state level?
Yeah.
Okay, so it'd be necessary for you to have talked to them and be telling the state, yeah, we need to do this because they're going to do their part soon or not, right?
It gets interesting because we have to quantitatively score every project. So even if a project is being done on the other side of the line, our project still has to score in comparison to the rest of our state to get state funding. Unless
Okay.
there is a federal grant that comes down for it.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Right, I'll shut up.
All right, so there's nothing else? Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate
you very
that.
Thanks, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Item next, there's a package for each commissioner on your desk. It's the hard copy of the audit for the fiscal year that ended June 30, 2025. The board received the report a couple of months back. Our hard copies were routed in transit to somewhere other than Gates County, and it's now in your hands. You will notice there is one page in the book is blue, and that was the page where after printing there was an error on the presentation of the school current expense and capital outlay numbers. And as much as we advocated for a reprinting, the auditor said they would send us a slip sheet, which is now attached to your book. And if we need to have a work session at a later date to go through, this document has been available online since the night that the board first received the report. So if someone goes to the Gates County website, you look at the tab for departments, you go to the finance department, and then there's a tab for budgets, audits, and one other category. You can pull up any audit going back about 10 or 15 years. In a related matter, Renee's going to pass out, well, she's not going to pass out, she's going to distribute for me copies of the FY26 third quarter financial report, which Mr. Robertson has compiled. Third quarter, meaning this is through the month of March. And a few things we'd like to highlight. On the front page is general fund data. Your revenues are reflected at 71.9%. Your expenditures at 62.1%. And there are a couple of reasons for that gap. The county, for a number of years now, has been partnered with Perquimans for the 911 Communications Center. And when you find the communications line item for the budget, you'll see it's $862,000. They typically bill us on a quarterly basis, but this year I think their bill's going to come in. And basically, the budget is split 50-50 between Gates and Perquimans. They're in the middle of the capital project to expand the footprint and offices for the telecommunicators, and I have no concern that we won't come within budget on that. And again, if there are particular items that catch your eye, we could try to answer those this evening or cover it at a work session. But the bottom of the page is often where elected officials like to examine. This is where William has tallied the cash. These are not receivables, these are not projections, this is the cash on hand, on deposit with either Southern Bank or in our investment trust through the state treasurer's office. And you'll see we're up not quite $1 million from where the board was last year when you received this same report. On the back page, we have the two funds that operate in an enterprise function, one for the transportation program, and the one that's had a lot of discussion and interest is our water and sewer fund. And you will see that revenues are at almost $1.4 million. Expenditures are about $1.3 million. And we, of course, are tracking a number of capital projects. The board had the presentation of bids for the four projects that were bundled. That's the two directional bores where we're closing dead ends at the Bennett's Creek right here by the duck through, and then on Carter's Road at Trotman's Creek. Those will help tremendously for the hydraulics, especially when you have a fire like we had just a couple of weeks ago over at Gates Milling. The other ones, there's a fairly significant, I think it's almost 5 miles, 12-inch line for one, from basically up at 158 down to Ashton Lewis. And I'm forgetting the other one, Brad. Of the four, we've got the 158 line, the two directional bores, and I'm just having a senior moment. And it may be that the 158 is segmented into two projects, but
I just looked at it. Merchants, community center improvements.
I guess they've got the Ashton Lewis line defined as the Gatesville transmission line, which connects to the 158 extension up to the Merchants Commerce Center.
Yeah.
The line running to Merchants Commerce Center is 1.9 million. The line running as the Gatesville transmission is almost $2.6 million. We've been tracking our revenue for the water and sewer fund, especially since the board invested about $1.4 million in replacing all of our water meters. Our water system, which is a combined consolidation of the town and the county systems for now almost a dozen or more years, is about 50 years old, and many of the meters we determined were not functioning properly. In fact, the estimate was at least a fourth, 25% were not functioning. All of those meters have been replaced, and as Brad reported a while back, the bi-monthly billing system has ended. We now, as of February, are using the monthly billing system. We are projecting that at June 30, the revenue for the water sewer fund will exceed $1.6 million. We're in fact at $1,661,000. We've come a long way on that. I know it's taken a lot of time and frustration for your customers and for the phone calls you received, but Brad and his crew are making great progress. I wanted to touch on a couple of things that were reviewed briefly in the budget work session a week ago. We talked about one of the capital projects that's now been deferred. The board had committed to partner with Merchants Mill Pond State Park in ensuring that there was a sewer line connection when the new family campground opens that has the RV camping complement. So the county had budgeted $287,000 for that project. And after that, and that was approved with state funds that the legislature approved based on the hard work of Representative Bill Ward and Senator Bobby Hanning. That was $10.1 million that was brought to Gates County. Well, subsequent to that list of projects getting funded, the county was successful getting a state revolving fund loan that's going to allow the county to go to T.S. Cooper School, and the project running to T.S. Cooper School will serve the campground. And we've asked the board to consider transferring those funds from the campground project to our next critical issue, which is well number 2. We have 3 wells, and well number 2 went down in late January, and we've been working with the state to navigate the processes to have those funds transferred from the campground sewer line to well number 2. But I wanted to talk about the fact that we were told the campground was going to open June 1st. That's still, I'll say, a soft number. Mr. Arnold has been invited to a meeting with the state project manager, Mr. Turner, the interim superintendent, and the leadership from Raleigh. As we discussed, our sewer line is not going to be constructed probably for another 6 months, and they want to open in June or sometime this summer. And we've been working toward a solution for a pump and haul. And the directive from the board in the discussions we had earlier this week was that we will help the state find that workaround, get their sewer into our wastewater treatment plant under a system where we will assist, but they will pay the cost. And we had given the board an estimate on about a 2,000-gallon temporary tank. And Mr. Arnold found one that for the low cost of transportation, meaning his guys are going to go pick it up, we're getting a 10,000-gallon tank for free.
He's shaking his head.
Oh, 3,000. Okay, how did I get that mixed up? This is just not my night. It's 3,000. Boy, I was excited. Well, it's a large tank.
They both start with the T.
Sorry
It's
about
okay.
that, folks. Either way, it's good news. It's greater volume than we had anticipated, and it's a tool that we'll be able to use in other applications down the road. Brad has suggested he's probably going to mount it on a trailer that could be mobilized in a pinch. So he's really taken your guidance to heart and is making that happen. Now for the well, and I believe we've got a screen that's got the well. The design for well number 2, the replacement, has now been approved. There are going to be 5 screens in this well for pulling water out of the ground. The original well number 2 had just 2 screens, and the hydrogeological analysis that was conducted determined that we could expand production by going with the 5 screens that are identified. And the board looked at a detailed report earlier, I guess that was last week, showing where it's actually the sandy area where they can pull the water out of the aquifers as opposed to the hard clay that runs between. That being said, the estimate for constructing that well, developing those screens, which is a rather technical system that Brad has reviewed with the board a couple of times, is going to run our estimated cost up about $100,000. Our initial, we thought we could do it simply with the money from the sewer service. We're going to need another $100,779, and we've proposed that that money come out of the water plant improvement budget. That's been reviewed by the state, and we had a Teams meeting this morning indicating that the board will receive a funding offer and a letter of intent to fund, hopefully to approve in the next week or 10 days, may require a special meeting because they have a resolution that you need to consider and review. But this is utilizing money that's already dedicated to Gates County. It's just since we had the ability to avoid spending the money on the campground sewer, you've freed that up, and we believe we can carefully use the other 100. And again, it's coming together quite nicely. The state has been very supportive, but they've told us the approval we received April 7th is tentative until we can prove the well works. So it's one of those, you have to build it before they're really going to give you approval. But they've approved that tentative design, but we'll be spending money to prove that we can make it work, probably before the check is written in Raleigh. But they are working hand in glove with us on this. And everybody knows Brad Arnold in DEQ. And in fact, it wasn't until March 20th that the set of circumstances that we've had in Gates County was declared by the director of the public water supply section at the emergency level so that we could expedite this process. That's Dr. Rebecca Sadowski. I guess the other slide that they had was the list of the 15 projects that the board is involved with. We have that on our website. It's also in our audit. We will hopefully very soon be bringing forth authorization from the state to advertise for the bid for the new water tank in Gatesville, for the 2 new wells, and others. But it is moving, I think, very well through the pipeline at this point. And I can't say enough about Brad and his team and the work that they do for the board. So there's no action. This is all information, and but I just want to put you on alert when the funding offers and paperwork comes in. We'll need to ask the chair to seek a special meeting so that we can keep everything in motion.
Sounds good.
Sure. I think every commissioner has received communication from Executive Director Kevin Leonard with the Association of County Commissioners. And the Association of County Commissioners acts as the voice of all county governments in North Carolina to advocate on our behalf for the funding opportunities that can help us and the sometimes legislative opportunities that may cause some challenges. And right now there are discussions about changing the ability of counties to administer the tax system as it's currently structured. I don't know that there's been any final recommendations, but they are moving toward, I believe, legislation that may involve a referendum for citizens to vote on in November. County commissioners have certain limits that are already imposed in the state statutes. A tax rate cannot exceed at the county level $1.50, and we're, thank goodness, less than half that at 67 cents. For those communities that have fire district lines and fire district taxes, the limit on a fire tax is 15 cents, and we do not have those. But the association has put out a resolution that's been
Yeah.
tailored, meaning we included Gates County's name to express the county's concern in opposition to this specific legislation.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We had a chance to review that, and it will be online as well with the information. But it is definitely something the association has taken up, and something all 100 counties should be aware of and concerned about, and hopefully moving to oppose. It will work well for big places like Wake and Mecklenburg, but for smaller communities like Gates and Hyde and Terrell, it would be pretty devastating to our local communities if it goes forward. So the resolution to oppose modifications to county property tax authority is what was put before us, and it's just kind of to have that resolution so that as groups like lobbyists, Forest, our lobbyist, and then the NCACC, different ones are going on our behalf while we're here. And then when we go, we have something that we can take to say that our board opposes this modification. So if we could get a motion to approve or to support this resolution to oppose modifications to county property tax authority, it would be great. Just so that we can have that on hand and pass it along to the state.
I'll make a motion, we pass this resolution.
I'll second that.
Right. Do we have any discussion, questions?
Yeah, I just
comments?
want to stress, make sure for public consumption, what this is about is that
Yep.
state level legislators trying to take away the ability of local governments to determine and to have ultimate say in their tax rates. And some people have concerns about that being good or bad, but ultimately it absolutely takes it away from us. If we have an emergency condition, they claim that we'd still have some authority to do it, but ultimately it takes away local
Yeah.
people making decisions about their property, their counties, their communities. And so we're opposing them taking that authority away. They did
Yeah.
this last year when they tried to take away zoning authorities and everything from local governments. This is a similar vein, in my opinion.
More control should be at the local
Trying
level.
to attempt to
It's an important
centralize power
parallel.
at state level.
Yeah. State trying
Yeah.
to impose that, yeah. All right, so we have a first and a second. All in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all I have.
That's all you have. Okay. So we are going to, each month now, and we shared one last month, the NCACC is putting out videos just for commissioners to share at their meetings, provides little snippets of what's happening. We are a part of the association, member of the association. So we do have a short video from President Wallace Nelson, who happens to also be chair of Clements County Board of Commissioners. So he's our neighbor right here and is absolutely for rural communities. So I will give them just a moment to get that video pulled up.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the NC County's Care Forum on Rural Health Care on March the 27th. We are grateful that you took the time to be a part of such an important conversation for our communities. Throughout the afternoon, we heard valuable insights from North Carolina healthcare leaders from the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, ECU Health, representatives from a local health department, as well as our partner from Carolina Demography, Dr. Nathan Dollar. Together, these voices helped highlight both the challenges and the opportunities facing rural health care in our state. Whether during the panel or small group discussions, the attendees' perspectives and experiences are what make these forums meaningful and impactful. This kind of engagement is how we move ideas into action. We hope you'll continue the conversation with us at the next forum in this presidential series on May the 20th in Beaufort County. There we'll take a closer look at healthcare in jails, another critical issue affecting counties across North Carolina. Be on the lookout for the registration information. Now, I want to mention something very important to all commissioners across the state. I highly encourage you to stay engaged on key policy discussions happening at the General Assembly, especially the House and Senate committees on property tax. These conversations will have significant impacts for our counties as well as the people that we serve. So please plan to join us in the state capitol for County Advocacy Days on June the 9th and 10th, an important opportunity for us to connect directly with our legislators and ensure that county voices are heard. Thank you again for your leadership, your collaboration, and your commitment to strengthening the health of our communities. We look forward to seeing you again soon.
All right, we can. Okay, thank you for that. So we are now going to move into the commissioners' updates. I'm going to start down here tonight.
Thank you all for all coming out tonight. Want to always say thank you to our team here that we have in the county. How many employees do we have now, Mr. South? How many? 90 full-time. And you would think a small community and a small area like we are, you would think it would be less, but it takes 90 people to keep our facilities up and running, county going. So I just want to say thank you to everybody for what you do. I know Brad's out there in the middle of the night sometimes. I'm coming in from work and see flashing lights. I said, well, there goes Brad digging a hole again. But yeah, I just really wanted to say thank you, because they do a lot behind the scenes that you don't see, and that's pretty much it for me tonight.
All right.
I'll
thank
save
you,
it
sir.
all for Dave.
Okay. Okay, here, Commissioner Roundtree.
Good evening, Gates County constituents. I want to say thank you again to NC Energy Savers. I want to thank, in her absence, Mrs. Shayna Brown, and I want to thank also Mrs. Christy Gibson and also Mrs. Jasmine Carter as they did their presentation. And I want to say again, that's going to be a great program for our constituents in the area of energy saving and energy costs. I want to say thank you also to Right Revival. I want to thank the CEO in his absence also, CEO Will Carnegie. But I want to thank Mrs. Christine McKeel for her presentation. As we know, food insecurity is an issue throughout the nation, throughout the state. And I'm looking forward to that program being utilized in Gates County. Also, I want to say thank you to Gates County NC Cooperative Extension Director, Ms. Helen Ewer. She's over Family and Consumer Services. I want to thank Mr. Paul Smith, Agriculture Agent. I want to thank Ms. Kelly Boone, 4-H and Youth Development Director. I want to thank Ms. Sarah Richardson, the Commercial Horticulture Agent. And also I want to thank Ms. Erin Roundtree Ewer. She's an Area Specialist Agent. And I want to thank them. They took us to the commissioners on an agriculture tour. It was very insightful, it was very educational. And I want to give a special thanks to the different farms we went to. I want to thank Mr. Scotty Stallings. I know he focused on cotton, corn, and soybeans, I believe. And I want to thank also Mr. Ricky Morgan. He specialized in cattle. It was a great trip. It was educational. And these farmers are vital to Gates County. Farming is a critical economic driver for Gates County. So I also want to, thank them letting us see the farm operations. They will inform us on different economic challenges that they have. And, as commissioners, we're supposed to advocate for them. We're supposed to, go to the General Assembly and go to Congress and advocate because, like I said before, they're a great economic driver for Gates County, and it's vital to our economic development. Also, I want to give another special thank you to 4-H Director Kelly Boone for organizing and facilitating the Youth Congressional Meeting. She had a group of students to talk with our Congressman, Don Davis, and our Congressman, Tom Tillis. And what this does, this really helped the students experience and develop leadership skills, communication skills, and collaboration. And I want to thank North Carolina A&T State University, my alma mater, Aggie Pride, A&T. I want to thank them for sponsoring and funding this trip to Washington, D.C. Very beneficial for our youth, like I said, in the area of leadership. So a big thank you to North Carolina A&T, Ms. Kelly Boone, the 4-H program. Thank you so much. Also, I want to thank Reverend Trevor Darden, Senior Pastor of New Hope Missionary Baptist Church. He gave a presentation on doing our 250th American anniversary celebration. His address was 250 years later, the promise, the progress, and the responsibility. It was a charge for all citizens in all generations to uphold our liberties, our faith, and our freedom. He did an excellent job. I want to thank you also. I want to give thanks also to the Gates County Historical Society. They helped sponsor the event. They opened up the museums for the citizens that attended that night. I'm so grateful that we cherish our history, and I'm so grateful for the Gates County Historical Society. And I want to thank our county manager, Mr. Scott Sauer, for facilitating the program that night. Thank you, sir. Also, I attended the Trillium Northern Regional Awards Luncheon on March 31st. The awards luncheon recognized local county-based community partnerships which contribute to serving our behavioral health systems. It was a great event. A lot of outstanding people throughout the region contributing to behavioral health was recognized. I'm so glad to attend that. I'm so glad to be on the board, the Trillium Northern Region Advisory Board. Also, I will be attending Breakfast with Women on the Bench. It's going to take place April 18th, 10 o'clock in Elizabeth City. We're going to be fortunate to have Superior Court Judge Eula Reed, State Appellate Judge Mrs. Walsack, and also District Court Judge Mrs. Wells. It's going to be a very informative event, so I'm looking forward to attending that also. And last, I want to give a shout out to the Gates County Community Partnership on their gala, our gala, because I'm a part of the Gates County Community Partnership. And it was a great event, community event, charity, for the different things that we provide for our youth in the areas of social skills and education. So that concludes my comments for tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Forsyth?
Okay, I wanted to make a few comments. Mine's not so much thank yous as highlighting some issues. For one, for the general public, folks may be aware that with the school board, changes on the board, lots of issues coming up, and I will say that some hard discussions are going on within the school board. They're going to engage with us. I'm looking forward to that engagement and hearing an awful lot of things that are difficult decisions, difficult discussions happening, but that's generally the times when good things occur or necessary change happens. So I want to be supportive and say up front as a commissioner that as we go forward with this in the next few weeks or month with the school, there's a lot of hard issues we have to work for. There's a lot of people out there who are concerned about, their jobs, about their schools, their long-term, memories, et cetera, with Buckland. And a lot of things are going to come about that are going to be difficult. And I think it's good that those discussions are happening. And again, fresh blood on the school board from my perspective. We renew the value of your elected official boards with new bodies and new perspectives constantly being put on there. I think that's a good thing. Now, having said that, I want to say again publicly that I think we need to pause on this water issues, some of the stuff we have on here, the Buckland School sewer pipeline. I've mentioned this before. I just want to say again, I think we need to pause before we run forward with building that system without taking serious consideration of long-term who's going to pay for the operation of it if the school's no longer functioning there and they're not the bill payer for the monthly annual recurring fees for that. So we need to take a look at that. Additionally, I want to stress again, I think it'd be great, I'm going to say this every meeting, if Gates County had a track facility. I've had a lot of people after the last meeting, a couple of school officials tell me that they were glad to hear that. I really do think we ought to consider that. Twice now in the last month, we've had to go to track meets at Perquimans County. Before we changed districts, we were doing track meets at Hertford County and all the way down to Martin County. And the cost of a track facility isn't a big stadium. It's not a whole lot. I mean, there's definitely cost involved, but we really ought to consider establishing a track facility for our kids. It's a low cost, relatively, not tons of equipment, not, like football gear and everything else, no building required for it. And that's something the county could invest in and allow us to, I guess, have a little showmanship and have people visit here for track meets where that's never happened before. I've personally been commented to verbally and via Facebook about Connex boxes still. And oh my God, Connex boxes. There's real misconceptions within the county. Some people here help share correct information, and you know who you are back there in the back, John. You help give people correct information. I appreciate that. But again, our zoning department does a good job, zoning planning. They have key answers. If people simply take the time and call, they can get good explanations instead of seeing 40 and 50 people commenting on things without having remotely good facts. Not that they're bad, they all have good opinions, but a lot of it could be cleared up with just one phone call to Ms. Cherry. Same thing goes with the developments that are going on. I've heard so many people talk about, the Ryan Home developments and, oh my God, it's going to overflow our schools and et cetera, et cetera. We need to be building water treatment plants and all this kind of stuff up there. And, it's 40 houses. In the county I'm in, there's 1,700 houses that have been built in the last 3 months. And, 40 houses is not a gigantic problem. If we do 40 houses a year, in about 5 or 6 years, it might be starting to be a significant impact. But I think people tend to overreact as far as how much that's going to impact our need for facilities. And the same thing goes with development. They're saying all the commissioners should intervene. And I'm a little annoyed of what they think we should do if people comply with the laws and the regulations, et cetera, and do the correct things. We don't permit their sewer or septic systems or anything else. So we don't have the authority to refuse to give them, septic service. That's not really a possibility. One person told me that. Just don't allow them to hook up to the sewer system. And I'm like, there isn't one for them to hook up to. So again, a phone call to our planning department would go a long ways, and I encourage people to take advantage of that. Next thing, the one thank you I would like to give is I see now a big step up in our Chamber of Commerce for Gates County, really showing much more visibility, trying to help local businesses, highlight their work and everything. And the Chamber of Commerce is a pretty good, darn organization trying to help our local businesses and help Gates County folks thrive. And I encourage people to, if you can, support them. Right now financial times are tough for a lot of people and you can't afford memberships and all, but maybe you can at least pay attention or go to an event or something or look at who they're trying to help out local business-wise. Next thing. This weekend, I guess starting Thursday, we're having the Gates County Wounded Warriors Wild Turkey Hunt. And if you haven't seen on Facebook, I guess we've done this, if not every year, virtually every year. We've sponsored an event where we have wounded warriors come to Gates County and we try to put them up and show them sort of a nice time is I guess the way I'd put it. But they're still looking for donations. I personally would give $20. They don't need but a couple $100 more, and they end up providing these guys with meals and all over a 3 or 4 day weekend, put them up, place to stay. And then if there's any money left over, which is not going to be a lot, they give them some gas money for getting here. But I mean, to me, having worked for the Department of Defense for a 31-year career, a lot of guys do a lot. And the guys that are wounded have done an awful lot and made sacrifices. And so I just encourage people, if you can, to make that donation. And I'd challenge anybody else to give just $20. It wouldn't take very few people they don't need much more money. They've got a lot of it covered because of the good support from a lot of businesses that have already pledged. But encourage you to consider doing that. The local credit union, I know you can go by there and give a donation, $5, $10, $20 if you can afford it. But if you consider it or spread the word around, I think it's worthwhile to help out our guys that have actually been wounded and made some definite sacrifice for our freedom. And the last thing that has been brought up, I appreciate the presentation on the well and all for general public consumption. That well number 2 and the whole part about having the screens and everything, our county thrives or survives on 3 wells, and when one of them has gone down and a significant amount of the flow is reduced, putting another well in near our existing treatment plant is a good thing. Somebody donated land, which was a good thing. And now being able to get a well developed in a way that with 5 screening areas, you can pull a whole lot more water out. And us being able to do that is a good thing. And especially if we can also use money that might have otherwise been wasted, not really taken advantage of, to use it to do this is a very good thing. And again, I commend our utilities director and our county manager for making that happen. That's a good thing. And along with that is several people said, well, you haven't forgotten the fluoride issue. You haven't forgotten the fluoride issue. I get nasty grams on that. And the answer is no, we're pilot testing that. And yes, there's still fluoride in the water. There's no doubt about it. And we're trying to move forward with dealing with that. But for anybody that asks, again, I'm sure you could probably call Brad if he's not out in the field digging holes, as Commissioner Craddock said. That's a job every kid aspires to, every boy aspires to get to dig holes in the ground for a living. But you can call and ask them about a status of that. But we have not dropped that. In my opinion, we have not dropped the issue of fluoride. I think we very much need to go after that. And for people that watch the news, I guess, that came out this week in the news, I was disappointed where I guess the American Medical Association said, oh, we don't want you to remove fluoride from the water. And people started saying, oh, that means any amount of fluoride is good. That's a wrong story. Having a certain amount of fluoride in the water helps with children's teeth. But as it goes up and gets very high, it becomes problematic health-wise. The low levels that they recommend for dental care is not harmful, is what they're trying to say. They don't want to completely remove all fluoride. But again, several people said, see, it's okay to have any amount of fluoride in the water. That's not true. So anyway, that's Dave's spiel for this evening.
All right, thank you, sir. I'm going to start mine off by saying happy Telecommunicator Week to our dispatchers over at Perk Women's Gates. I'm still dispatching in a certain capacity of a 988 dispatcher, but 911 will always have my heart. And so they are being celebrated over in Perk Women's this week, and they should be celebrated and recognized. So just wanted to acknowledge them tonight and say thank you for all that they do. They are the very front line to an emergency. They're the first person in contact with those in crisis, and they're often the most overlooked when it comes to those that are working in public safety. Moving down, talking to the schools, we are about to end our first full school year as public school family after homeschooling for our entire life here. My kids have loved it. I'm going to tell y'all, for those that homeschool, the one comment I make is, man, public school cost a whole lot more than homeschooling did, because these field trips are about to kill me. We've been to Jamestown and Virginia Beach. I'm going to Roanoke Island next week, and they're used to having mom on all their trips, and they want mom on all their trips still, so I'm tagging along with them as we go. Moving down as to things that have happened in the past month, March 25th, I had the honor of attending Women's History Month celebration, a reception at the Governor's Mansion. And I just wanted to point that out because I listened as he was speaking, and the reason and the significance of the date was something that I was unaware of. It was specifically on March 25th because March 25th of this year is when women will have made the same amount as men equivalent to them in the workforce last year. So whatever men made last year, it would have taken till March 25th of this year for women to make the same amount. That's almost 3 full months where we're talking about just, discrepancies in pay and unequal pay. So I thought that was interesting, the significance of why they celebrate Women's History Month on that date, and it's because women are still so far behind in that area. Strategic planning has been moving forward. We had a great meeting this last month with community members that we've had different come in, different community partners. We have some exciting conversation going. One thing that we keep hearing is market Gates County. We have to sell ourselves, and we have to invite people in to visit or to stay in some ways. And I know that's a contentious subject, as Commissioner Forsyth was saying right now. But I would hate for Gates County, because we are such a community, a strong community. I feel like we get along well and we do that. But for people to come in and not feel welcome is something that has really been on my conscience as these conversations are happening. So I just hope that we're aware as we're having these discussions that we are being welcoming to our neighbors. We need people. We cannot have a thriving community without people here and visiting, whether they stay or they're just visiting. We want people coming through the county. We need people to come through the county. Any thriving county is going to have people. So that is just something I think that as strategic planning we're talking about having events where we can invite people in, different things. And so there will be more coming forth with those things. A few things I've attended in the past month here since our last meeting. NC County's CARE, as was discussed with the message from President Nelson, Access Within Reach. That one was specifically important for me to attend because it was focusing on rural areas. The jails, yes, that's important, all of that's important, but this one was specifically focused on rural areas. And there were some phenomenal ideas that people were putting forth that they do when we had our small groups. One actually talking about they have, using Dollar General parking lot in the back, a mobile health program that comes through once a week to offer care at the Dollar General parking lot because they're rural and they don't have access to care. The other is the 100 Counties Prepared. Myself and our emergency management director attended that, and that is talking about the roles that commissioners have, that emergency managers have during a natural disaster, essentially. And after Helene a couple of years ago, the coast has had different ones. Weather has been different. We've had some pretty intense summers. We've had some pretty intense winters. I've never seen a winter where we've had more snow as many times as we did in the past couple. So that's changing, and it was just talking about how to be prepared. So things are happening on the backside to make sure that our county is good should anything come this direction. This past weekend was chaos. Went to DC for my daughter's 15th birthday, but on Sunday, we were in Halifax. And I just want to mention to our neighbors there in Halifax, if anyone is interested in history, April 12th, 1776 was when the Halifax Resolves took place, and it was right there in Halifax, North Carolina. So an hour away. On this past Sunday, they had a ceremony. Again, the governor came in, had different congressmen, different legislators come in. But the Halifax Resolves, for the first time since 1776, are housed in Halifax until October. So they have a museum there. They have those on display if you're interested in going to see them. It was kind of neat to walk in and see. My daughter in DC surprised me. She wanted to go see the Declaration of Independence, and she wanted to go see different things. And she said, just to say I've seen it and I've been there. So if you care at all about history with things like that, I'm a history junkie. Those Halifax Resolves there in Halifax are worth a trip.
You should tell people what they are. They're the original.
They were the first, move towards independence from England. North Carolina was actually the first to make a sound declaration of independence from England. So while the Declaration of Independence in Philadelphia, all that is important, it started here in North Carolina in Halifax, and that was the significance of it. So the actual 250th birthday of the country started April 12th of 1776, which was exciting. I want to just kind of go off what you said. The farm tours this morning were phenomenal. Mr. Morgan, Mr. Stallings. Last year, the April meeting, we also did ag tours. We toured 4 farms, I think it was last year, 2 this year, and we're hopeful that going forward, we can continue to partner with the Extension Office and tour different farms each year in April, kind of a good time of year for them before they get too crazy busy in the fall, harvesting. But learning about the 6 different farms over these 2 years and seeing how different each of them are to be so close was really eye-opening. The things that they mentioned, the sandy land that I didn't recognize with no irrigation and things like that, and the crops that are lost from that, and just how much is up in the air for these farmers. But so those were eye-opening this morning and in a really good way. We did have the opioid town hall earlier. Chief Butts with Gates County Rescue was unable to attend to give the update that he had prepared because he was at an active incident in the county. But we do have an upcoming meeting of the opioid committee. We're always looking for more people for that. We have a couple of citizens that are on that. We have some requests that have come on, or a request that has come in for a possible use of the funding. So we'll be having a meeting in the coming weeks to discuss that. And then the Board of Education and us with a joint meeting, it's been mentioned before, about next week, but it will actually be April 29th at 6, hopefully. We are waiting for confirmation from them on that time. There was a request for more time. As we mentioned, the board's changing and they want to bring everybody up to speed, have the time to do the due diligence for their budget, and to present us with something that they are unified on. So we will be hopefully meeting April 29th at 6, but that will be advertised per the website and Facebook, all of the normal avenues of notification. And that is all I have for the night. So if we...
Can I add one thing?
Yes.
I just want to brag for a second. We had a UNC Charlotte electrical engineering student, graduate of Gates County Schools, was part of their team that actually went into 3 rounds of overtime in the national robotics competition less than 3 weeks ago. It was finally resolved at 2 o'clock in the morning. They ended up taking second in the national championship, and one of the 10 players was a Gates County electrical engineering student, former Gates County high school student, named Forsyth. And I'm real proud of my kid, but also the fact that North Carolina did so well. The team that beat them is actually a combination of University of Florida and University of Florida Central, I think. So it was a combination. It took 2 rounds into the night of overtime before they did it. But I thought that was a big plus in the fact that, you know, our Gates County students do well. In this case, it happens to just be my kid. I hear other stories of it. And I think we have a lot to be proud of. And actually also the fact that as a North Carolina school did so well in a robotics competition nationally. So
Yeah.
thank you for letting me
Well,
brag.
congratulations to your kid.
Outstanding.
Okay, so we are going to go into the last public comment period. Do we have anyone signed up? And this public comment period will be 3 minutes per speaker. The timer will be up on the clock over here, and if so, when you come to the front, if you could state your name and your voting district for the record. And I knew we had people signed up because she went for the sheet and she stuck around for a second, so.
Hello.
Hey.
How you doing? Good evening.
Service members. My name is Hope Spencer. I'm an implant. I've been here a little over 21 years. I came here through 20 years of active duty Navy. I'm originally from Iowa, so I'm used to wide open farming. So that's kind of why I'm here. I'm here for the contentious part. But it's a good thing. I mean, I get it. So I have a few concerns with this development and how we go moving forward. And I know that some people want growth, some people don't want growth. But I think we can all agree on we're going to have growth. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. But we can plan for it. That's what I feel. We can plan for it, and we can have some, I hope our county can have some control in it. And I know I'm speaking for myself. I don't know how much control our county had in this newest development. I know me as a citizen, I got slammed with it. I don't know how other people feel, but that's how I feel. And I just hope that we can have some control in that. Let's see here, sorry. Maybe we can, I know we have a ordinance where our minimum is 1 acre. Is that correct, I think? And that we have to have 175-foot road frontage. Mm-hmm. Maybe we can revisit making that bigger. Maybe, I don't know how all that works. Or maybe we can think about limiting the number of 1 acre lots on a big parcel of land. I'm not sure how Fox Haven Holdings purchased all this land, if they bought it big and then they split it up, if they bought multiples, smalls, I don't know. But maybe if someone has a 10 or 20 acre parcel, that we don't have 10 or 20 acre, 1 acre parcels. I really don't know how all that works, maybe just something to think about. I know we talked about that 47 homes isn't that many, but for that small corner of Gates County, it's a lot. I think we're talking about 150 acres, I'm not quite sure total. If you divide that by 47, that's roughly a little over 3 acres per, I know it's not divided that way. I know we got like a 22-acre lot and like a 10-acre or 9-acre or whatever, but I know we have a lot of 1-acre lots packed. And I know we talked about wells and water. I know we have services. I've never said don't give them services. Of course you are. I'm very welcoming my own self. I'm very friendly. I will talk to anybody. It's not about being friendly. It's about maintaining Gates County as some space. And come on, obviously we need the money. If you guys sit up here, I do not want your job. Ever. I'm getting ready to go. Anyway, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I don't want to be in your shoes. Thank you for your service, and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we? Okay.
What I want to discuss, a lot of things y'all have already covered, but I'm happy about Robin Hood's coming to Gates County because it's going to bring more people here, it's going to bring more income in the community. But my concern here is that Ryan Holmes coming, what was the incentive that Ryan Holmes gave Gates County to come here and build these homes? And I'm sure there's going to be other big builders coming to Gates County. What they could, builders could give incentive like helping out with the school system, bringing additional income here in the county, money that can be used. As far as when they were talking about the septic system, a lot of builders would go in, they would put in a pumping system, a septic pumping system, and a water system, which would not be able to be used with the water system that's already being used. That would cut back as far as on funding, as far as trying to, I heard y'all talking about the well. If the builder puts in a water system like aqua water or something like that, that would cut back as far as you all needing, those additional funds can be used for something else. Also, when we build the other additional houses, I'm sure other builders are going to come, we got to think about, right now we're using volunteer firefighters. We should be having paid firefighters. EMT people, there should be paid EMT. Volunteers were years ago. The community is extending. The Sheriff's Department is running short on help. They're going to need additional help if we continue to let big builders come in and build additional houses. And I know that's not what people want to hear here, but the money's got to come from somewhere. If the builders are going to build, they need to be given an incentive to the county. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Do we have any other?
Mr. Cashel?
Well, I came here to talk about one thing, but I'm going to say something about what the prior two women said as well. I've only been here about 3 years, and it is really disappointing to see this development coming in because I moved away from Virginia Beach, Chesapeake area to avoid this, and the special ruralness that we have such pride for is being destroyed. I mean, there are so many tracts of forest that have just been taken down this last year alone, and I know that once one development starts, there will be another one. And I know that the county is very limited on resources, which is going to bring me to my next one, which I'm going to try and be here every month to be in front of you to tell you that we need to be proactive and not reactive when it comes to stepping up and putting some resources into our animal services. I don't know how we're going to do it. I don't know how you're going to do it. I don't know how the next commissioners are going to do it, but it needs to be addressed, especially if we have more people coming in, because all it's going to really take is one person crashing their car and dying because there was somebody's dog in the road. And I don't think Gates County wants that as a headline. I think we need to find some way of figuring out either a satellite of Tri-County or making our own little shelter for owners to come and get their animals. We have to find a way to do something. Your citizens are the ones that are stepping up and taking care of these animals. They're putting their own finances towards these animals. they're putting their own families and animals in danger to try and help their community's animals. So it needs to be something that is addressed. And I really do hope that with all of this development coming in, you guys will have a way of making it so it doesn't ruin this very special rural life that I have loved very much, and I don't want to have to leave because I see it turning into a lot of the other areas around us. So I hope you just really, truly do value that ruralness of Gates County.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So with conclusion of the public comments and the agenda, on behalf of the commissioners, we thank the staff and the presenters and the public for your time this evening with all business addressed. We're going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? All right, we are adjourned.
2 hours wasn't too bad.
Yeah, it could have been worse, yeah. Could have been worse.